Yo pagar por todo, tú no necesitas hacer las cosas. Tú estás mi esposa.
Tú estás mi esposa. Tú estás mi esposa.
Great job, Danielle. I'm sure Yohan just loves the way you speak to him. I mean, there's nothing quite like having your wife belittle you because you want to build a business. What a great supportive wife she is, hey?
So, tú necesitas un timeline, un boundary por tu negocio cerrar.
So here's the thing with Danielle and Yohan. They seem to always be in this tug-of-war battle to figure out who's the dominant one in the relationship. Is it Yohan because she's in his country and he's the man? Or is it Danielle because she pays for everything?
Mira, aquí el hombre trabaja, la mujer trabaja, la mujer hace oficio en la casa.
¿Y qué hace hombres?
I want Yohan to be more realistic about our future, and I also don't want to be bankrolling our life forever.
So when we last saw Yohan and Danielle, they were in the middle of a pretty intense argument at Yohan's new butcher's shop. Danielle couldn't get over the unrefrigerated meat, the flies, and the way Yohan wasn't on top of his accounting.
I have some concerns about the business, primarily how the meat is kept in the butcher shop. I'm also concerned about how he keeps books. There was no way that I could mask this experience.
But when we joined them the next day, after Danielle's had some sleep and had a chance to do her 10-step skincare routine, it's clear she's in a reflective mood. In fact, even she can admit she probably didn't deal with things the right way yesterday.
I feel really bad about how mean I was to Yohan in the butcher shop, but I'm still really worried about his finances.
Now, on that topic, now that Danielle's financial situation is all out in the open, you know, the debt and the bankruptcy and all that, there is a small part of me that maybe wants to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe, listen, hear me out. Maybe she's just learnt from her own business mistakes. Maybe she just wants to prevent Yohan making the same mistakes that she did.
So I'm sorry. In the butcher shop, I feel like I got very angry. I was frustrated.
De verdad me puse muy molesto.
But where that whole argument comes unstuck, and the thing with Danielle is she just doesn't know when to stop. Like, she's just apologised. She could leave it there. But oh no. She needs to take it one step further. She needs to assert her dominance.
No entiendo tus números, tus matemáticas. Un día, cuando tú miras tu negocio, no más. ¿Qué tú necesitas por tu negocio cerrar?
¿Qué necesito?
Sí.
What really annoys me here is how Danielle's speaking with such certainty, as if she knows failure is inevitable. Like, she saw his shop for the first time yesterday. She entered a few wrong numbers into her magic spreadsheet, and oh, there it is. She knows the entire outcome of his future. Like, it's ridiculous.
Tu negocio es caro y tu negocio no tiene dinero.
Mi negocio no tiene dinero ahora, pero va a tener.
What she's doing here isn't constructive. In fact, it's the opposite. It comes across as her being a hater. Her business failed, and now she thinks his can't possibly succeed. And that is clearly winding up Yohan the wrong way. He's not ready to give up on his business just yet.
No estaría dispuesto a renunciar al negocio. Yo decido si el negocio se queda o si se cierra.
Now, as someone who wants freedom herself, Danielle, of all people, should understand her husband's desire. That's in fact maybe the first thing I've seen that they actually have in common.
Quiero tener lo mío, no quiero trabajarle a gente. Quiero ser mi propio jefe.
Entiende.
But while Danielle says that she understands, in reality, it doesn't really seem like she does. Because the very next thing she says to Yohan is that she wants a firm deadline, or at least a time frame, as to when he's going to shut his shop.
I sacrificed a lot to be with Yohan, so if he is still losing money 9 months from now, we're gonna have to close this business.
Tú necesitas un timeline, un boundary por tu negocio cerrar.
So let's talk about that, shall we? Let's talk about Yohan's new business not making money. That's not uncommon. But the way Danielle's talking makes it sound like she's the one bankrolling the loss. But is that true? If you recall, in the last episode, she actually said,
You know, one of the things I wanted was for him to open a business so that he could make more money, and it seems like he's now taking all the money from the job that he already had to pay for this business.
So, Danielle, you're not bankrolling his business. What you are bankrolling are the stays in hotels, which you need because you can't handle the reality of the Dominican Republic. You're probably bankrolling the dinners out, the drinks, the things Yohan wouldn't be doing unless he was with you. And if you're dying to know how Danielle is affording all of this, don't worry, she has a business plan. You see, Danielle posted a bunch of Instagram stories after she got so much hate about her financial situation, in which she attempted to clear the air. She revealed that she's not worried about her stability because she's borrowing $100,000 out of her pension in order to put into an investment property in the Dominican Republic. She claims she'll be renting this out for $1,000 a week, and after accounting for a whole 2 weeks out of the year where it might be vacant, that will earn her roughly $50,000 a year in passive income. Now keep this in mind because we're gonna come back to that shortly. But right now, it seems like Yohan has learned that the best way to deal with Danielle is to let her think that she can have her own way. When Danielle presses him about how long he's going to continue his business, Yohan responds,
En 6 meses.
Maybe. 8 o 9 meses.
Now, wisely, Yohan does add that this isn't set in stone. He'll make his mind up closer to the time.
Yo te estoy diciendo un suponer, no te estoy afirmando. Entonces no me pongo una fecha fija.
So, while on the one hand he's giving Danielle what she needs, which is some sort of planning and dates, on the other hand, he's also trying to grasp back his power. He's reinforcing that she can't hold him to that. This is yet another example of the tug-of-war power dynamic that's continuing. And this leads us nicely onto the next day.
Today we're going to look at apartments so that I have a place set up to move into in a few months.
Don't forget, Danielle is only in the DR for 1 week. She'll be coming back to live permanently in a few months. And so it's not unreasonable for her to want a nice apartment to move to. What does nice mean? Well, she wants a modern apartment, one with 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and importantly, lots of space.
I'm going to be working from home, so I need to have space to be able to teach yoga classes online.
If I was Yohan right now, I'd take the opportunity to drill down into her business. How many students do you actually have, Danielle? Does it warrant this extra expense? Interesting how she doesn't volunteer that information about her own business, yet expects to know every last cent that he's spending his own money on, isn't it?
These are like expat communities or really tourist areas that have a lot of security and a lot more resources. But these apartments are more expensive.
Now, I understand how, for most locals, this level of luxury is beyond their imagination, and that's a whole different issue. But Danielle here, with her $100,000 pension, well, she should be able to get a pool.
Me gusta la piscina.
Está linda.
Sí.
Bueno, el precio serían $2,000 mensual. Voy a darle 5 minuticos para hablar ustedes.
Now, from what Danielle's told us in the past, numerous times, her rent in New York was $4,000. But then again, we also know that she has a history of not paying her rent. Perhaps that's why, this time around, she wants to know if Yohan can help out.
¿Puede ayudarme con alquilar?
No cuento esa cantidad de dinero.
Come on, Danielle, that shouldn't be a surprise. You've picked the most expensive part of town, and I get that you have expensive taste and high standards, but remember who you're talking to. Yohan has no running water in his house. He lives with 16 family members under one roof. She's seen his finances. She's gone to great lengths to interrogate and analyse them. She knows he can't afford to help her. So is this really a surprise? Or is this, yet again, Danielle going out of her way to embarrass Yohan?
Yo puedo ayudarte con 5,000 pesos de mi sueldo. No puedo más.
5,000 pesos. Es $90.
How do you think Yohan must feel here? The way she's looking at him. She's embarrassing the guy on TV, and he can't get his head around why. Danielle, he says, this isn't news to you. You should know this already.
Yo te dije, yo no lo puedo pagar. En lo que yo pueda te ayudo. Tú sabes.
Now, let's go back to Danielle's business plan. Remember how she claimed she was going to make $4,000 a month in passive income? Well, here she is in the most expensive part of town, being told rent is $2,000. Her plan is to charge double that. Is that realistic? What's she going to be offering that these apartments aren't? This couldn't be a case of her getting her accounting wrong, could it?
Tú estás loco. Tú comes 5,000 pesos por desayuno.
The funny thing is, I actually believe this. After all, we can't forget what Yohan is capable of when it comes to food.
I really could kill you. Johan ate $200 worth of peanuts. I don't really know how that's possible.
It's obvious that when Daniele is footing the bill, Yohan doesn't seem to hold back. But at the same time, to throw his budget back in his face like that, well, that's not fair. Yohan's told her what he can afford, so she either needs to accept it and move on, or look for an alternative apartment. But she does make one very interesting point.
Ok, una pregunta. Porque necesito balance en esta relación. Es importante a mí. ¿Tú cocinas? ¿Tú limpias toda la casa cada día?
Daniele reckons that if she's going to be covering most of the rent, then Yohan needs to pull his weight with things inside the home. And while on the outset this might seem fair, it also doesn't quite add up.
Yo necesito tú hacer cosas en la casa.
Cuando no estoy haciendo nada, si no estoy trabajando.
Could I bankroll our future forever? Yes. Do I want to? Absolutely not. I have no desire to support a grown-ass man for the rest of my life.
Look, the reality of the situation is Danielle's likely to work less, yet still earn more than Yohan. Assuming she's got clients for her online yoga business, how many classes is she going to run a day? Like a few hours worth?
I can teach a yoga class. I can...
That's one day. Okay, the other 6 days.
We know she's already told us that she wants a leisurely life. She wants to spend time on the beach. But by comparison, Yohan has multiple jobs. He's likely to be working a lot more. So with all of her extra time, is it not fair to say she probably could help around the house a bit more than him?
Pero tú no piensas, yo vengo de trabajar, tú en la casa, entonces para yo ponerme a hacer cosas.
Pero yo trabajo en la casa.
Sí, yo trabajo afuera.
That doesn't mean that he's lazy or that he's not providing. It doesn't mean that he's not pulling his weight. It just means that he's not getting paid the same as she is. That seems simple enough to understand, doesn't it? Well, you'd think so.
Yo pagar por todo, tú necesitas hacer las cosas. Tú estás mi esposa.
Pow! That's the ultimate KO. Daniele just took Yohan's manhood and kicked it into the horizon. I think we all knew that this moment would come. She was always going to flex her financial muscle and make him feel guilty about it. It was just a matter of when. And here we are.
Te molesta pagar por todo y te molesta cocinar a tu esposo.
Pero yo no quiero trabajar más.
Mira, aquí el hombre trabaja, la mujer trabaja, la mujer hace oficio en la casa.
¿Y qué hace hombres?
What's that I hear? Cultural differences? No way. Although, between you and me, it's 2023 and he's breaking practically all of the gender roles. His wife is supporting him. She's the breadwinner. He could probably do with reeling in this I'm the man so I don't do any housework stereotype just a little bit.
If I'm doing all the investing, both financially and physically, I'm going to feel really resentful, and it's not going to be a relationship that makes me happy.
You're absolutely right, Daniele, and these are all things that you should have realised before you got married and moved to a different country. You knew Yohan's financial situation. You knew how low the pay is in DR. Yohan wanted to move. You were the one that put a stop to that.
I'm worried that if Yohan can't find a way to meet me halfway and compromise, that this relationship isn't going to survive.
Yo quiero mirar a un otro.
Seguimos viendo más opciones.
Yeah, let's look at other apartments because that's the issue right here. I love being right, and this relationship is playing out exactly how I thought it would right from the start. Is Daniele going to be able to get over the fact that, in all likelihood, she's always going to be wealthier than Yohan? Or will this problem arise again and again and again?